Now, one thing that I couldn't do this episode without asking you about, because I know someone's going to joke about it, and people like to joke about this. It's, hey, why does Gimp not have a shape tool? I'm sure you've heard plenty of comments about that over the years. It's a reoccurring thing that constantly comes up.
I think at this point it's a meme.
It is a meme,
It's more,
yes.
yeah, it's more like a meme, yeah. And well, so it's coming because
I know it's on the
we have,
roadmap.
yeah, because actually, okay, so the whole thing actually when that's also one of the big differences when you look if you look at the forum for techies and
Right.
a forum for like photographers and like if you like go on some Linux forum, you will have this kind of comments.
Sure,
If you go
sure.
on like on pixels.us or whatever, like this kind of forums, all the actually people using games, they will answer on our behalf because they say, but why don't you use Inkscape?
Mm-mm.
Because at the point when we do like when actually when you do when like Gimp is a raster editor,
Mm-mm.
so we care about pixels and everything and
Mm-mm.
like filters and stuff. So shape is really something. It's more vector stuff.
Mm-mm.
So now it's good to have a bit of mix, and actually we are planning to have vector layers. There is
Mm-mm.
like a
Mm-mm.
branch already with working vector layers. I mean, it needs a lot of work, I'm sure.
Right, for
I
anyone who
don't
hasn't worked
really.
with vectors with GIMP, right now you import the vector and then it will just raster, like render as a raster for whatever size you want it at.
Yeah. Right now, it's. I mean, you can also. There's also the pass tool, so you can also import vectors into pass.
Mm.
But like pass, they don't have colors. They don't have pass. You can use them after this, for instance, to like stroke a pass. But then
Mm-hmm.
it becomes also a raster at this point, right?
Right.
So vector layers will be like basically having pass and say, my pass now give me a color, give me a width, and maybe even like other fancy textures or whatever, like on the
Mm-mm.
side, like and and then if later it's like non-destructive editing for filters, right?
Mm-mm.
If I want, like if I stroke my pass and later, I think I want it like this, then I have to undo or delete or whatever. Or if I merge it with something else, it's bad,
Mm-mm.
But if it's a vector layer, which you say, it's my pass and my pass has this, and I want to change it a bit, I just move one point,
Mm.
an anchor point, and the render changes. So that's something which is worked on.
Mm-mm.
We have a branch about this, which is actually like uh,
Mm.
a branch based on code which was started at GSOC from before my time. So like from 10, 15 years ago, and 15 or something. I don't know, but from like one of the oldest, because actually Gimp didn't participate to GSOC for like Google Summer of Code for many years, and we only
Mm-mm.
started again like 3 years ago, I think,
Mm-mm.
and. So it's against CMYK students who and before him Jacob started to work on this branch, all very old branch, and after CMYK student also took over. And so we have something kind of already working, even though it needs a lot more work. So when we will have this, we'll have vector layers, and then it will make sense to have a shape tool,
Mm-mm.
which will create basically vector data. Because right now, really, making a shape tool which makes like a circle in
Mm.
raster, I mean that's crappy. Like you have a circle and then and I mean and then it's like merged into your pixels, and
Right.
it's then you want to change your circle. You cannot when do you want shapes? When you want shapes, maybe you make a rectangles to hide something, or you want to design stuff above an image, or this
Right.
kind of, and then you want to move to trick.
Mm-mm.
It's it's the kind of stuff you do with Inkscape, which is also a great software. So, and Gimp is not becoming a vector software. We'll have a bit of vector, but
Mm-mm.
when people will want to do very complicated vector stuff, will say, yeah, still go to Inkscape. We have a bit because it helps people, because everybody wants to do once in a while a bit of mix of concepts. Same as Inkscape also has some restore capabilities. And so that's it. The shape tool is I mean, and seriously, the same question goes on like the illustration or photography forum and everything. You look everybody's answers basically say, yeah, you're just using the wrong tool, man. You know, if you ask this, that's about it. So it's again like some Linux forum or whatever. That's for them. It's a good troll to make. You know, that's
right. Okay, so I guess the thing we can end off on is, if you had infinite time, infinite resources, and there was something you could add to Gimp that isn't in it right now, what would you like to add? Preferably something that we've not talked about already.
It has to be one thing?
Yeah, you can talk. If you want to say multiple things, go right ahead.
Well, there are a lot of actually a lot of stuff which are put in the roadmap. I want them, but there are, since we do animation, there is something which I've worked a lot on is animation tools in Gimp code, and actually I have code for this and so on. So, and I would like to finish this. That's again some kind of code which I've had, like, I started with doing plugins. I had at least 2 or 3 plugins which I threw away, which we used for times, and I threw them away. And like at some point also made some core code, but I'm not completely happy with my stuff and yet. So I'm kind of a perfectionist also. So that's definitely something. If we could have very cool animation tool finished soon, I would love it. I'm working on it, and if we had a lot of resources to do this, I will love it. And actually, this also comes with. That's also one of the points we want to update our file format, XCF. And for me, I think it's a really important part, because I want a format where we can load more easily piece only of the image. Because if your image, which is not an image, it's more a project. If your project is like animated sequence, you probably don't want to load the whole file into memory at once, because it's hundreds of not hundreds, thousands of image, and then you kill your memory, right?
Right.
So and right now our format is not really adapted. I tried to make some code already where to load only parts of the image at one point and everything, and it's possible, but I think at some point we want to have a better format, and there were a lot of projects also, like a lot of discussion about which could be done together about the format, where we could store directly Gaggle buffers. So that will make not only like saving, loading and saving a lot faster, but like even saving, like we could have near instant saving, and like they will because if we basically right now we have to save the whole thing at once,
right?
But if we have like a format more like basically a package of several files, and the layers are directly Gaggle buffers in its raw format. So for instance, it's much faster to load because it's a raw format of Gaggle, which has support for saving on disk. But also we could save parts like you just edited a layer, you select another layer, so you could just quickly save this one layer. You just right. So you could like very quickly like have a constant saving system basically. Because right now this the main problem with the constant saving, why we cannot implement this, is that many people, they don't see this, but people who make a huge work with Gimp, they have like hundreds of layers, and they hit Control S and it takes 20 seconds.
Right.
So you cannot like have like you are painting something and suddenly like it's saved by itself, and then you get everything, you get stuck, right? So that's why right now we cannot have this kind of stuff in Cogin. But if we had something where the save could be like incremental and very fast and everything, then we could have constant saving. Like you work on one layer, the other one is saving this during this time and everything. So yeah, having a new format will improve a lot of things like this for animation too. For like animation means also we could also have multi-page, like you have a few formats with multi-page concepts. So animation is like multi-frame, but then there's also a multi-page concept. Like, and right now, what we do is like we consider the page with as layers. We say, okay, let's say that every layer is one page, and then you can export as PDF or something like that. And we could have a real concept of this, and that's a whole kind of stuff which I've been thinking a lot about, and yeah. There's another stuff which is kind of close also, is a macro system. Because so actually with Gimp 3 already we improved a lot the API, and one of the things which did is we have now like automatic concept of like saving the so like a plugin is like it's also like a procedure, a function basically. For Gimp calls this procedure, and when you call it interactively, you call it with basically default arguments or last use arguments and stuff like that. So when you notice when you call a plugin, usually now it has the last argument you used are already saved. And so now I basically, and how we generate UI now for plugins, we have this infrastructure. So the UI, when people like edit stuff, and automatically save the new arguments of your procedure. So it's stored. Gimp stores this, which can. So interactively, it means you can reuse it for last use, but also for macros, it means that Gimp also knows how to, like every plugin you use, it knows how to reproduce it without showing the dialogue, right? And previously we had already this for the effects. Effects also have this. You can, when you load an effect, you have this small stuff where you can look at the previous time you run it, right? So it's the same. We have already this for effect. We have this for now plugins since Gimp 3. And the only thing which is missing now is on canvas tool usage. Basically, we need to store all this kind of information. And once we have basically these three main components of what can you do with an image of Gimp, is like do stuff on canvas directly, do plugins or do effects. When we have this all, then it will be like very a piece of cake to implement macros. Just like when you say, "Oh, no, start recording, please," and stop recording, and then it will just have stored everything which you did, and you can redo it and then you can do batch processing and whatever within Gimp directly, like, or just play these macros of these 20 images. or even like you could like, since it's all like kind of programmatic too, you can also like put your macro into a script and then edit your script. So say you want to redo a wall drawing, and then you just multiply all the dimensions by 4, and then it reads the drawing, but non-destructively without with the right dimension, without needing to like scale, because scale is destructive. Even if it's scale up or scale down. I mean, scale up, scale down, it will blow. Any scale is destructive, but you can say, oh, like you could like kind of programmatically save your drawing and make it after this redrawn on any size, kind of now like vector. No, it's not vector, but it's yeah, it will be like a script basically playing. So that's the kind of stuff also. I have a lot of projects. I also have projects for Aria. Maybe I speak too much. I don't know.